Good evening. Just to let you know before we get started, I just want to thank you and appreciate for the opportunity. I'm a big fan of Charity Water. I've always been a big fan since I found out about your company when I was like servicing through the internet. The reason why I have such a good connection with your company is because I was raised in an environment that you guys are trying to help. I used to live in Zimbabwe. I was born there, lived there for 11 years. And for the first 11 years of my life, I was pretty much just living in a village with my grandma, and that's pretty much where I was raised. That's what happens in Africa when parents start having kids. The first time, like the first newborn always lives with their grandma. So I lived there for 11 years. So I understand your vision, I understand your mission, and I'm for it because I was there. I've seen the problem, and the biggest problem that I grew up with is that there was never a legitimate source of clean water. It's always been something that was just kind of like, it's a lot of people, a lot of health issues, a lot of people down with malaria. So it's just kind of something that I've always I'm always gonna remember, being raised in Zimbabwe. So that's why I'm so for your company, and I'm like a big fan, and I want to appreciate. But just to let you know something about myself, regarding the position. So my whole life I've always been like a competitor. I always wanted to be good at something, have a skill. My whole life I grew up playing football. That was my first skill-based job that I had my whole life. I invested majority of my life in football. But when I went to college after football, it was kind of something that it was got me a scholarship, took me to another level. I went to college in North Carolina, this small school called Brevard College. That's where I kind of learned about design, and I figured that okay, since if NFL doesn't work out, if all my dreams get crashed down, I can always lean towards something else that's very skill based. And I've always been a designer, and I like to design. I grew up in such a creative family. My grandmother was a journalist, and my uncle is a photographer in Zimbabwe right now. So like I've always been a part of like art, but I like structure, so I chose design, and I like math at the same time. So design was kind of something that I could relate with, and I've been into design for a long time. I've done a bunch of projects. I'm gonna show you towards the end of all the projects that I've done my whole life. But I like to be, I like to be competitive in everything that I do. And football is one of the things that taught me how to do this. Speaking of the position, I think I could be a good asset to your team, mainly because I grew up in the environment that you guys are trying to save. I grew up there. I've seen it. I've seen the problem, and I can relate. And I can speak 3 languages. I speak Swahili, Shona, and Zulu. So I'm very kind of like in tune with my African culture, and everything that I've done regarding design has always been focused on trying to solve problems and fix problems in Africa, because there's so much potential. And you're right, without water, there's no way people can ever be happy. Water is what brings everybody. We have so much water here, we don't even realize how important it is. And in Zimbabwe and other countries, they're suffering from that because there is no good, legitimate source of water, especially when you have kids in such a very poor community. So as a graphic designer, as a web designer, as a UX designer with experience in graphic design, and having a competitive mindset, having the notion of understanding the problem you're trying to solve can be something that I could be a good asset on your team. I think I can utilize my skills as a UX designer. I'm very competitive. I try to come up with the best strategies I can think of, just to make sure that I execute at my best to accomplish an objective. And since it's something that's for a company that's trying to solve a problem where I'm from, I have no choice but to go hard. I have no choice but to be very competitive, because I'm competitive. I'm all about trying to solve a problem. But it's nothing better than solving a problem that has a purpose, and especially if it's a purpose that I slowly relate with. Just that was something about me. I'm just gonna next video I'm gonna show you some of my projects that I've done, and kind of showcase my skills. I'm not all about talking. I'm all about walking. These are the 3. I'm here to kind of show you. These are the 3 projects that I'm kind of want to showcase. These are the ones that I'm proud of. These are my recent projects that I've done in the last year, and this is basically all the stuff that I've learned my whole life. It's showcasing all the different styles, all the different processes that I've learned my whole life. I kind of showcased in all these 3 projects that I recently just did. I did all these one of these I did last year in the fall, and another project is something that I did the spring semester. So let me just start off with the one I did, this project I did in fall for my typography class I took in Academy of Art. basically this the project was we had to come up with a company and then create a live book for it. And I was just kind of excited. I was like, any company? I was like, oh man, I was actually excited for doing this because I've never had a chance to kind of like create my own company. And when as a kid, I used to love skateboarding, and I've always wanted to create like a cool little skateboarding brand. So this was my opportunity to do it. So I went as hard as I could. I actually did a lot of research to kind of like accomplish this little live book right here. So this right here, this book, so I came up with the company's name. It's called Jansky Mag. It's inspired from this. I thought it was a cool name, and at the same time, it's a flex property in like astronomy. I don't know. It's astronomy. It relates a lot. It has a lot to do with like gravity and rheology. But I'm a design major, so I just thought the name was cool, and I remember that from science class when I took an astronomy class in Brevard College in North Carolina. So that just stuck with me as a cool name, mainly because it kind of looks like Banksy in a little bit. But anyways, I created my own company. And this is live book. It's a live book. Also, every picture you see in this book, I took. I'm a photographer as well. I'm double majored in graphic design and photography when I was back in North Carolina. So like it's kind of cool. All this work is 100% mine. I own it. Pretty much, I've done everything. Like this is my full control, and that's just kind of like This is why I'm really proud of this project. This is where I kind of feel like everything in here is originally mine, and it kind of feels good to kind of like say that. Anyways, so this is the first page, like the inside spread. This is a photograph I took in West Oakland of my friend's warehouse where they have a skate ramp in there. So I kind of got this is like. I got inspired from a lot of books, a lot of magazines that I have in my collection that kind of like, different layouts and different patterns that most designs that you see in like, magazine and like skateboarding magazine or like very like visual culture magazines. Kind of inspired me to kind of like paint this on my own little nice canvas. And it's like, so it's pretty chill. It's, I like the way I put the numbers. I like the way everything's laid out. There's a lot of good prescriptivity, and there's a lot of good layout. The typography looks perfect. I like it. Everything was just kind of like everything went together. It was just I was so excited for this project that it just made sense to me, and that's why I always love to do something that I'm excited about, that I feel like has a purpose. And this, I was just in my mind, I was just envisioning this company. I was like, man, this company exists. I'm gonna make sure. I want people to think that this is a real company, and like that was kind of like the reaction I got from a lot of friends and a lot of peers. So I'm actually kind of proud of this spread. It's kind of like sets it all off. It's just like, oh man, I'm excited to see what's gonna happen next. This is also something that I never done before, like some infographics, kind of like just icons to kind of demonstrate my product and what I sell, what I provide, my competition, just an overview of my whole vision and mission. So it's kind of like something that I was just proud of because I did this in Illustrator. I usually never draw, and I never but this allowed me to kind of like push it to the edge because I was so excited for this project. So this is something that this is some of the stuff that I did. This took me almost honestly 6 hours just kind of like making sure that everything was laid out right. So this is one of my kind of, when it comes to showing off my skills when it comes to layout and type and organization of like using negative space. I feel like this magazine itself kind of like allows me to basically just, this is an evidence of my skills based regarding my design background. So like stuff like this, these are all the pictures that I've took, and like I went through different types of layouts that I was kind of very just trying out. This was a very interesting project now, and I kind of I'm still working on this. I'm still even sometimes I go back and try to see what I can do different to kind of change it around, because I'm never satisfied. I might take some different pictures because I've got actually cool pictures. So this is a logo that I designed with a winky astronaut dude, an astronaut, and Jansky magazine. Just the reaction that I got from my peers, everybody thought it was a real company, and everybody thought I was just kind of redoing it. And I was like, nah, this is actually my company, and it kind of feels good to be able to kind of showcase your skills on something that you love to do, and it just looks a lot prettier. Especially, it looks so much prettier when it's something that you kind of care about. And that's why I'm excited to if I get the opportunity to work for Clarity, I'll do my best to be the best I can be, to showcase because I have a connection with the company. Anyways, back to what I'm saying, back to my project. So this is my first project, just to kind of show you all, to show off what I can do. So the next project after this is the one that I did with a group, with a team. So basically, a professor created two teams. He was a client, and it was two design firms, and he had to choose. He wanted to choose. He didn't know. He had to choose which design. He tried. He was. We basically, we were fighting for his attention. We were fighting. He wanted him to hire us. So we had. He was like he was a client. He was a Samsung. So we had to like create a proposal, basically like an overview of like of the company, showcasing like Samsung, the new Samsung 3D television, 4K. So it was something that it was kind of like interesting. I like this project because I worked with the group, and I was in charge of all the visuals and the design. The layout was kind of more like, it's a team thing. It was so much information, but when it comes to like the logo and the layout and the colors and all that, that was all me. And the name, actually, I came up with the name. Everybody came up with like Elevate Designs. There was different names from like Elevate Design to like Elite 8, which was 8 of us. But I was just like, man, I want something catchy, something nice, something that looks good in type. I would say something. And then that was Nuwa. Nuwa is a god of art, of design, of create. He's like the similar to Christian god, but he's in the Chinese mythology. It's a religion, it's back like an old religion in China. So Nuwa, I figured Nuwa was perfect. And this kind of like since I came up with the name, they gave me the responsibility of just coming up with the logo. And I came up with different variations, and I was just really, this is another project I was actually kind of excited about. So everything just seemed to just kind of make sense. When I'm excited about something, everything just makes sense. I'm all about walking, man, and I love to walk. Talking doesn't get you nowhere, but I like to show off what I can do, and I have a passion for this. I took everything that I had in football to bring it to my work, and it just kind of is all coming together. I came a long way, but this is something that I'm really proud of. Anyways, so I came up with different variations. The first thing in my mind, I was kind of inspired from like, Nogan, like 90s kind of like towards like early 2000s kind of graphic design styles, and I was just kind of like trying to mess things around, different colors. There's just a lot of different directions we could have took this company, and like the team finally decided on this design, including the sun on top of that, and like so we ended up like, personally, my favorite one was this one. I don't know, just was something that was just kind of like, I don't know, a little different, and from like the normal trends that are currently right now. This kind of like it reminds me of like Europe design. So I'm obsessed with like European graphic design, from Swiss to like English. But anyway, so like they end up choosing this one, and this is the one that they want. So we went along with this one. And I was actually kind of excited because I thought that was like my second favorite one. I like the way it looks. It kind of looks like a baseball logo, So we went with that, and the project, we ended up getting like an A in this project because mainly because of the design, and I was actually kind of not trying to like just to kind of like be cocky with it, but I take pride in my work, and like the professor really liked the design and how everything was laid out. So in this project, I designed like this page. I designed the front, the cover page, and I also designed some of the layouts. I was also it was just a lot of information, and there was not that much time, but it was a project that that I learned a lot. I learned a lot how to work with the team. With different schedules, and it was way to come together and come up with we used as many tools as we can just to make sure that everybody did their part, and if someone couldn't do, we always stepped in and tried to help out. It was a good team work experience, and like it's something that I've learned a lot because I've never had to kind of like work with a team that big in my life. So it just kind of, I was like, it was kind of exciting. But anyways, so this is some of the stuff that we all designed, we all put together this project, and it's just kind of we had to do a lot of stuff, like we had to produce a lot of deliverables, including like competitive analysis. We had to do like user flows, kind of showcasing like basically we had to make a website. We had to design a brand, like just make a website for Samsung. So I was in charge of kind of like designing my brand, like the brand of our company, but then we also had to create deliverables for Samsung 3D TV to promote it and create a website for it. So we did a lot of did a lot of research, you know, including competitive analysis, different competitors like Visio, and we did like eye tracks, like stuff, some usability, like tactics to kind of like to see what we can do to have an edge, to have a stepping edge our competitors. So we did a lot of experiments and a lot of like a lot of research, and this was kind of like this was actually one of the toughest projects I've ever worked on, and I'm kind of like man, it was worth it because I took a lot of like I learned a lot of took a lot of knowledge with it. It came a lot with a lot of knowledge. So it's so yeah, this is some of the stuff that we did, you know, and like I was mainly in charge of like the design, and I designed some of the websites, like these mock-ups. I came out with these wireframes, and you know we worked together. But I was in charge of the iPhone, the mobile wireframes, and it all came together. It was just something that was just kind of like, you know, it was challenging, but at the same time it was worth it. It was so worth it. So this is mostly my the stuff that I'm really like actually proud of, and like I wish, you know, it's gonna get better. I got more stuff that I'm gonna be working on. So this is something that I'm always competing against myself, and I feel like to me this is kind of like something I can like, okay, I can do better. There's always that competitive edge in me, and I'm always trying to find something to do better. So this is my project that I've worked on recently, and I feel like this project's kind of, you know, showcase and give me that kind of, you know, I guess you can say respect, but it gives me that. It gives me that the edge most designers, because most UX designers don't have like a graphic design background, and I do have one, and I'm very passionate about my design skills, and with like me knowing how to code, it's kind of like something that just, you know, that's something that I take pride in myself, and I would love to work for your company because I'm in love with the vision. I'm mainly in love with the vision. The brand is nice, it's clean, everything's like it's all like it's just comfortable. And coming from Zimbabwe is something that I really connect with, and hopefully you give me a chance.